Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.wordpress.com. Thank you for joining me today on a Thursday, and Thursdays are not usually days where I put out videos. Thursday is usually my project share project day that I participate in with 3 other members of our Stampin' Up team. So that's Jill, Heather and Jez. So all of those crafters also have YouTube channels, which I encourage you to check out. I will leave links to their pages in the description. What I'm going to do is basically use a product that they featured in their card today in my project share blog post and create something of my own, which is a little bit of a challenge. So I've been scratching my head a bit on what I was going to do. So, and then there are some products that they featured I don't actually own. So from Jill's project, I've picked out the stitched triangles to use. Heather, I don't have the stamp set or dies that she used, so we're going to go with the tailored tag punch. And then for something different, I picked out this embossing folder. This is the Old World embossing folder, which Jez used. So yeah. And then I'm going to add, so there's no stamps there. So I picked out today's tile so that I could use a sentiment, and I wanted to use this sentiment. Okay, so all the ladies were doing masculine cards, so I've also decided I'm going to do a masculine style card. So I've chosen basic grey as my card base, and what I've done already is done a whole load of die cutting of some little triangles. So basic grey, I think there's about 8 of those I think, and then some smoky slate, and there's a couple that I've cut in half as well. So I've got those ready to go, so I didn't want you to watch me cut all of those out. And what we're going to do is use them to make a border in a similar fashion to how Jill has done hers, but instead of going across the card I'm going to go down the sides. Okay, so we're going to do that first, and I'm going to use my grid paper to find the centre of this piece of card, which is going to be roughly 2 and something. Yep, somewhere between 2 3/4 and about there. Okay then, so I'm going to start with the dark triangles, and they're going to go along the edge, so I want 4 for each side. So, and I'm going to bring in my Tombow glue. So I'm just going to turn those over. You can tell which is the right side of the die. You can actually, the stitch marks are really nice and clear on that side, but they're a bit fuzzy on the other side, so that's the correct side. Okay, so just putting some dabs of glue onto these already. I'm going to start at the ends. So now I've got plenty of room, so I'm just leaving a bit of a border. And the wet glue will give me some little manoeuvring room as well if it isn't quite as evenly spaced as I want. It's particularly for these two. So I'm just eyeballing that, I think about there. I'm not going to press it down too hard until I'm sure. I'm just looking to see these tips here are evenly spaced. That looks okay. Give those a bit of a firmer press. Okay, turn it round. Do a similar thing on the other side. And then I've got these points to guide me as well. So again, just turn them over, apply some glue. So just like I did before, place them along this edge using the row above as a guide. So I want to look level across the card. I don't particularly want to have to draw loads of lines across it, so okay, not going to press too hard on those until I'm absolutely sure I'm okay. I think that's okay though. So now what we're going to do is use the smoky slate ones to fill in. So 3 and 3, and then we need 2 of these halves. So again, we'll put some glue on, and these are just going to fit in between the spaces. And they should fit. I did sort of experiment slightly with the dies just to make sure that they did fit together nicely, which in my head I thought they must do, if my geometry lessons served me well. And then those half ones just fill in that gap there. There we are. So again, we'll flip it over. Some glue. Don't want too much, sort of squidge out the sides and make a mess, but you want, and it will press out as you press down anyway. And it's very strong. Once it dries, it's they're well and truly stuck, so no worry about them falling off. Oop, a bit too wiggly. This one on that side. So the die cutting did take a little time, but you sort of get into a rhythm with it. Okay, lovely. I'm going to give those a couple of minutes to dry. I'm not Looks nice. I like it. It's going to be cute on the back of here. Yeah. Could just as easily have it this way around as well. Might end up being this way around actually. We'll see how it goes. Yep. Got some, even though it's a blokey card, if you tie a ribbon in a knot, that's kind of that's cool as well, isn't it? I need some Whisper White to stamp my sentiment. Just rummaging in my scrap pile there. So we'll go with the basic grey ink to coordinate with the rest of the card. So light tapping on, just light pressure on the ink pad. With the photopolymers you will see that they're inked very easily through the stamp set, through the stamp itself I should say. And then we shall bring in the tailor tag and line that up where you want it, and just crunch that out. So I'm thinking I might need to frame this slightly. Yeah, it's going to fit better that way, isn't it? But anyway. So what I'm going to do is cut a basic grey as well. And I'm going to use my scissors and I'm going to cut down the middle of this. I'm going to add those to the top and bottom just to give those a little bit of a border. So I think that's going to look nicer in the landscape. I think the punch fits better that way. That I do. Okay, so that's still drying a little bit. So I'm just going to add, I'm going to add some wet glue along the edge. Of this, and add it over the top of this punched piece, so the end pieces are flush. A little bit much glue on that one, but we'll oops, it'll dry clear anyway. So once you're happy with that, just give it a press. Just going to hold that for a couple of seconds. It will dry clear, that little bit of glue there. Okay, so that's ready to go as well. So in I think it is the Prized Peony Garden, that's it, Peony Garden, what's it called, the Peony Garden Suite. It's a really gorgeous grey ribbon, which is actually grey granite, but I reckon that will do. Just trying to find it in my basket. So I think that probably matches it well enough to be added to this project. So that length looks about right to wrap around the card in the first instance, and then we'll cut off another piece to tie in a knot. So we'll turn this over and put some of our Stampin' seal on the back here. Oh, I know what I haven't done. I haven't done my heating, my embossing. I haven't used the embossing folder. Okay, that's fine. I shall. Don't worry, don't panic, Mr. Mannering. That's the short bit, isn't it? Let's get along a bit. I want to make sure that's central-ish. I was going to emboss the whole thing, but it's okay. She said, but just leave that to one side. We're going to do a little experiment. Let's emboss this and see what happens. Give it some texture. It's this is a what do you call it? A dynamic embossing folder, and I can never remember what the sandwich should be, but I think I got it right. Yep. So with a dynamic embossing folder, you just want to use the just one cutting plate on top. I'm going to run that through again to see whether we can get some more interesting elements. There we are. Bit of texture added to that then, just to give it a bit of a different look. As I say, I was going to put the whole of this through. Still try and do it. It's the adhesive shouldn't nothing like making it up as you go along, eh? I just got carried away. I was really pleased with my with the outcome of the so I've got that wrong. I think we might need the purple. Yeah, that's it. It's the so you just need purple cutting embossing plate to get them to emboss. That went through much better. So the adhesive's just caught on there, but it should peel away okay. Oh, that's really giving it some texture, hasn't it? There we are. Bobby dozy. Put away my plates. So we will begin now. Use some wet glue to get this adhered down. So because it's a textured surface, it's going to take tape. Probably won't do that. It is really raised. Can you hear the nib of the glue going across there? Really deep embossing. on those dynamic folders. I'll add that one. The base layer I've used is actually a little smaller than my usual ones that I use. So instead of being 4 inches across, it's 3 7/8, and instead of 5 3/4, it's 5 5/8. Right, could probably do with holding that down for a bit. So that texture is really it's like superb, really good. So you don't want to press it too hot because you don't want to flatten your embossing, so make sure I've got that the right way up. I reckon we could lift that up onto some dimensional and then secure it with some Tombow over the top. Just to make sure it sticks to that textured surface. Those points just sit nicely across there, and just making sure that ribbon sits kind of across the middle. That over press, and then we'll just loop that through there and do a knot. There are all sorts of fancy ways to do knots, but that's worked out just fine. Because you can get what is it, a square knot. You have to tie it in a certain way to get the square knot. But I can never seem to get it right. Don't know whether it's because I've only ever seen with me being left-handed. I think it might be. I don't know. It just seems to be a bit awkward for me to do them. I don't know. I'm just going to tuck that under a little bit there. It's better. So it gives it a bit of niceness to it. Okay, what do we think? That's not bad as an improvised card with supplies that I didn't sort of choose, if you like. I've forced myself to use things in a different way. I actually quite like how that's turned out. Once I got the embossing right, obviously don't emboss when you've got glue on the back of it. It probably didn't help that, but I think the overall effect though that we've got with our finished card is really, really cool. Okay, I hope you've liked that. Bit of fun doing something different. I'm gonna say all the ladies, that's Jill, Heather and Jez, have all got YouTube channels which I will link in my description, and I'll link to the blog post where I share their projects. So do check them out, check out their channels, check out their blogs. Likes and subscribes for everybody. That would be really, really lovely and help support their business as well as mine. Okay, super duper, thank you everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow for another video. Some sneak peeks tomorrow. Watch this space. Okie dokie. Take care everyone. See you.